Is a video and audio recording that is taking place. I request that any of the attendees to this meeting remain muted until they want to speak, just for sound quality purposes. So we'll begin with the approval of minutes. I'll make a motion that we approve the Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from October 20th, 2020.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on these minutes?
I did not see anything. I thought they look good.
I did too.
Ken, you're muted.
Oops. There we go.
Nope, they're okay.
Okay, so all in favor of approving the minutes from the October 20th, 2020 meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes. We have 3 pieces of correspondence tonight. In agenda item 2, Thompson Public Library HVAC repairs update, a memo from the Board of Trustees, and also some information from the Department of Public Health, which has since been pulled back because the governor employed, as of Friday, he's employing phase 2.1, and he's reverting us back from phase 3 to a modified version of phase 2. And they've, from what I understand from Northeast District Department of Health, they've gotten rid of the yellow, orange, and red alerts. So that piece of information that you received in your packet is kind of irrelevant right now. Did either of the selectmen get any other correspondence?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, I did receive some correspondence today, which I would like to add to other business. I received a resignation letter from John Dalton, which I will share on the screen later. But I would ask that we add it to other business.
Motion to add it to the business.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of adding the resignation of John Dalton to other business agenda item 10, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes. We'll add that to agenda item 10, and I'll share that letter on the screen when we get there. All right, selectmen's comments. Any comments from the selectmen?
I have 2 comments tonight. First of all, I want to comment on the, what was it called? The activity that they had at the Speedway for Halloween.
Great.
It was an amazing success, and I think that we owe a huge debt of gratitude to those that put it together. I know the fire departments, the rec director, or the rec committee might have been involved, as well as I think the church was involved. So I think that was amazing. The line was all the way from the Speedway to 193. And it really gave the kids a better option.
And it was 2 hours. That was on my notes for tonight. 2 hours of nonstop cars.
Sorry.
2+ hours.
Didn't mean to steal your.
No, that's okay. No, I'm glad that you were there. You attended.
Yes, it was wonderful, and my granddaughters loved it. So thank you to those that put that together.
Yep.
I wanted to comment on the election yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I work in East Thompson as a poll worker, and it couldn't have gone smoother. It was a great success, I think, in the town of Thompson. We had record number of voters come out. We had a lot of new people registered to vote. I talked to one of the registrars tonight, and he said that we had 83 people registered to vote yesterday. And I think that we as a town did a great job. And I thank our registrars, Eileen and Frank, because I think they worked their butts off putting this together and making sure it went out successfully. So.
And a shout out to the town clerk's office too, because they've been handling the mail-in ballots for weeks now. And I think overall Connecticut did a fine job with the election process.
And you know what? I should say a shout out to all the poll workers as well.
Poll workers too, yourself included.
It's a very long day for them. Some of them are a lot older than I am, and some of the people that came in are not always happy. Some were wonderful, and it was a good day all in all. So,
Yep.
That's my comments.
Okay.
Yeah, the election itself, the turnout with people was phenomenal. Our workers with the COVID and working around that, just like you both have said, did an outstanding job to get us through this. The only thing that I think us as Board of Selectmen, and it's not going to be something that somebody's going to enjoy what I'm going to say, that if you were outside in the parking lot where they park, it was crazy. There is just not enough parking to handle it. And I think they've got that problem now up at Thompson Hill because the Masonic home was sold.
Thompson Hill was reported by the registrars this morning. Rich had gone up and he had put up signs for no parking in front of the former Masonic hall.
Yep.
They had to park in the back and there were no complaints and there was plenty of space for parking.
Okay.
So Frank came into the office today and he was very happy. I also went to the owners of the house, the old Masonic hall, just to request if there was a fire call that the fire department firefighters would be able to use their yard for parking. And they were very amicable. And they said, absolutely. If a call comes in during the polling hours, they can certainly park in our yard. And they were really, really great to work with. So as far as Thompson Hill, it was a smashing success. And we were worried. We didn't think it was going to be.
Well, that's good because I know that they always use that Masonic home park and they've done it for decades.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate that we didn't have any snow on the ground either.
Right. Yeah.
And that's something
mud.
which is very possible. I mean, we got to keep that in the back of our mind for the safety of any of our people wherever they're voting.
Yeah.
The town hall, it was chaotic parking. They were parking up in the back. We also had some of the parents picking up the kids at the end of the school between 2 and 4 p.m., which was adding extra traffic as well going up in the back. That, we should look at that. Hopefully we can have elections that are, in the 80+ percentile all the time, which is great. That way, if you vote, you got a right to complain. If you don't vote, you don't have a right to complain. So getting them out is fantastic. And I know, like I said, it's not going to be favorable, but looking at what it was yesterday, we got to look to see what we can do for additional parking, et cetera, to make it as easy as possible, for our people when they come. Because the biggest voting area is the town hall district.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
for the future.
I will say East Thompson was a little bit congested.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And we did have a lot of people voting, but I don't think that the parking was a huge issue. I think it's limited parking and people know that, but some people actually walked over, they live that close. And it seemed as though a lot of people were coming at one time, but it really dribbled in all day long.
Right.
Every single minute, I think we had a new person walk through the door. So parking, there's not much you can do over there either.
Right.
Yeah, no, they're limited. The town hall, like I said, is the biggest area. And it was nonstop. I think there was about a half an hour where they were actually just a few people from, the door going in. But other than that, it was well into the parking lot and going up towards the back driveway at times. It was but it's the size of the district there. So just something that we can think about in the future.
These kind of numbers we probably won't see again for a while of voters. 80%, it's very unlikely that we will have 80% come out for referendums and things like that. So it might have been the exception.
As long as the line was at the town hall, at one point I got out there and I was like, well, I got to vote at some point. And I went to the end of the line. I was into the parking lot and it was honestly very quick.
Yeah.
Very quick. I was just like, I couldn't believe how fast we were moving. And I was like, and people were happy and friendly and nobody complained. And I was just grateful for that.
No, they did an outstanding job.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what polling district, the flow was great because I was up when I voted at Quinnebog. You went in, you came out, they had it down to a science. It worked fantastically.
Yep.
All right.
Any other comments? Okay. The only other comment I have to make, and we'll be discussing it with the legal notice for town meeting, the hybrid town meeting is coming together. Our next meeting on November 17th will be in the auditorium again. And at the end of the regular meeting, we will close the meeting and work on a test run for the meeting the following week, so that we can get a grasp of how we're going to do the voting on the virtual voting mixed in with the live voting. Frank McGarry has said that he will join in for the 17th so that he can have a feel, because most likely he'll be the moderator, unless somebody else decides to moderate. But we know that Frank typically engages that role. So that's my hope, just that we can work some of the kinks out before the big meeting. So that's all I have.
All right.
At this point, we'll move to agenda item 4, citizen comments. Citizen comments. If you have a citizen comment, feel free to unmute yourself, raise your hand, and be heard.
George O'Neill, 122 Fabian Road. I have a comment.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I did review the minutes of the last meeting and noted under the section item 7, where there's a potential donation of property to a trust by the town. And I noted also that there was a recommendation for a revision clause, which I think is certainly important. One thought came to mind when I read that was that a further restriction or condition should be placed on any town properties donated to trust, especially the Wyndham Trust, is that the rights of the citizens to, or to the extent possible, the rights of the citizens to hunt and fish in accordance with the statutes in the state of Connecticut be preserved and retained. The reason I say that is because I've approached some trusts in this town. We have a fairly substantial number, and I was told that their hunting was not allowed. And I'm not talking about, I'm thinking of bow hunting and things like that, or similar type of activities were allowed and where it's safe. So I'd ask that to the extent that this group, in considering donating the property of the town to a trust where it may stay for centuries, that consideration be given to preservation of the hunting and fishing, which is certainly a long-standing tradition here in northeastern Connecticut. So that's my only comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, George. Any other citizen comments at this time? Okay, hearing none. We will move on to agenda item 5, Thompson Public Schools bid award. The building committee met on Monday, as you've seen, and they are recommending that the bid be awarded for $1,855,000. The bid be awarded to Imperial Company Restoration Contractors Incorporated for a bid package of $1,855,000, and to include the alternate number 1, which is a piece of building material, if John Rice explained to me properly. It's a specific material that they wanted to use for the roof. So I would entertain a motion to accept the recommendation of the building committee and award that bid to Imperial Company Restoration Contractors.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, possibly?
Second, yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to award the bid for the school roof project to Imperial Company Restoration Contractors Incorporated. Is there any further discussion on this option? I mean, on this motion?
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. Once we award this bid, this goes back to the building committee, is that correct? Or does this go to the Board of Finance, or does this go anywhere else? This is
This
goes
is
right
awarding
back to
the
them?
bid. I believe this is just awarding the bid. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ken.
I'm just questioning. I don't know the process. That's why I'm asking.
Right.
Well, if we award the bid, then the town will be entering into a contract once they meet the requirements, and then the work will be scheduled accordingly based on recommendations by Ty and Bond, the building committee, and the
Right.
contractor.
Okay, just was curious as to what the process is and where this goes from here.
Yeah, it goes back to the building committee to
Okay,
start the process once it's officially approved at town meeting.
so does the chairman of the building committee goes into or signs the contract with them, or is that the first selectman? Is that?
I would think it's the first selectman.
I would too, but I don't know.
Yes.
It is town property.
So it's the first select.
John Rice has a comment. John, oops.
Agree with that is that the selectmen would be signing the contract. The building committee would implement the contract along with Ty and Bond as a hired consultant. And
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor of awarding the bid to Imperial Company Restoration Contractors as recommended by the board, by the building committee, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Okay. Agenda item 6, legal notice of town meeting. This hasn't been super easy as far as developing the legal notice. There's been some adjustments at just about 5 o'clock today. I received an adjustment from Ken Slater that I was hoping to share with the board. And when I show the email, it'll explain what he did. He consolidated the wording so that during the town meeting, we only have to vote on 5 items. I think it was, instead of like 9 items, based on the way it had been written.
Yep.
So let me just share that. Take me a second here. What is it? Oops. Sorry, I'm working on this. Okay. Okay. All right, I'm going to share my screen now. Can everybody see that?
I can.
Okay. So I know that you guys had a couple copies, draft copies that were sent. So basically, Ken Slater consolidated all of A, B, C, and D into one resolution. River Junction states the donation of the land is one, and then all 3 of the ordinances will become one resolution as well. And then the last one would be the appropriation of the $200,000 for the Marianapolis litigation, which we weren't able to do in March because of COVID, which is finally getting onto a town meeting agenda now. So none of the wording has changed, just the way the legal notice is kind of like constructed has changed.
Okay.
Do you want time to read through it a little bit more? So I can go page to page.
Let me ask you a question, Amy. I know that the 2 attorneys looked at it because we deal with the bond attorney, which is a separate firm for the borrowing.
Yeah.
Make sure that that's fine, and then of course the town attorney looks at, does the body of the actual hearing notice, which is fine. The question that I have is, did the town attorney have a chance to review the ordinances that we're proposing?
Yes. He's given his approval to, in fact, Ken Slater constructed all of this except for the wording on the bond portion of the legal notice. He just transferred that language over. He reviewed the transfer station, garbage, rubbish, refuse, and recycling ordinance, the veterans tax exemption. He looked over and made one change to the reference of the state statute. It was incorrect. It was supposed to be an L and it was a slash for some reason. And then the driveway ordinance, he also looked at and gave approval. So those are all set to go to the town clerk's office tomorrow morning, if this goes through tonight, so that
Okay.
it'll be on file with the town clerk.
Okay.
Yeah, because we as a Board of Selectmen haven't officially agreed as of yet to bring these ordinances forward.
I thought we agreed that it was housekeeping the last meeting.
I know we had discussion about
We
that.
did discuss it, but
We did not bring up the budget. We did not bring up the blight, but I thought that the other three ordinances were good because it was just housekeeping issues.
I remember that term being used. We didn't do a vote on
It
it.
says, according to our revised ordinances, veterans tax exemption transfer station and driveways should move forward.
I'm looking
Because
for my notes.
statutory references and verbiage corrections. That's the way it's written in the minutes.
In the minutes, yeah.
I mean, we agreed that it was just housekeeping, that it wasn't anything of controversy.
Discussion on several proposals, some modifications. Yeah, housekeeping to perfect structure.
No, I do remember that reading it quickly that night, that a lot of it was housekeeping.
Yeah. And as much as I would have liked to have seen the budget ordinance get back on here, I knew that we needed to have further discussion on that. Because even though we kind of all agreed in the meeting that it would probably be good to bring the budgets together, we hadn't had a full discussion on it. So I knew that that wasn't going to come in. And then you had requested that we receive copies of the previous
You can call us.
blight ordinance.
Said he can come.
And I'm kind of like jumping from topic.
Well, you're talking about the ordinances that we discussed at the last meeting.
Right, and the blight ordinances, we compared the two, we received the copy, you guys should have received the copy of the former blight ordinance that was proposed 5 years ago or whatever. And this one, and honestly, they're kind of the same. And I don't, personally, we'll bring that up maybe at the next meeting, but I don't really feel confident in moving forward with a blight ordinance again, as much as I'd like to.
Wow, that's a discussion.
That's a whole nother
And
topic.
we also talked, didn't we talk briefly about the fire department ordinance? Because
Right.
that is one,
That needs to be worked on as well. That was
Right.
discussed.
it's
Yeah.
a little off topic, but we
Yeah.
are talking about the ordinance. I did have a conversation with our new assessor about it, who was going to do some research for us. So hopefully that will be for our next town meeting as well.
Yeah. So, but I believe that these three ordinances that we were in agreement because it was housekeeping, just a few minor tweaks to verbiage and whether it be what you can bring to the transfer station, what you can't bring to the transfer station. That was sort of most of the meat of it.
Okay, as long as the town attorney's reviewed it and he has no issues with it.
He drafted it. So, and he reviewed all three ordinances.
No, but I'm saying that if he reviewed all three ordinances,
Yep.
we don't want to go back and have to amend it because it wasn't proofread, if you want to call it that.
Right. No, absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Do we need a motion?
We need a motion to move forward to town meeting, if that's the correct verbiage, since we're talking about verbiage.
Okay, so I'm happy to make that motion. I just want to make sure that I notice
It would
of
be a special town
I'll
meeting.
I'll make a motion of a notice of the town meeting on November 24th, 2020. And that we,
As prepared by council.
Present the resolutions as presented by council at town meeting. You make that motion, Suzanne?
yeah,
I'll second that motion. All in favor of moving forward with the legal notice of town meeting? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and that motion passes. Right, I'm done sharing.
When does the notice have to go out officially to meet the time?
We are going to put it, we have to get it in the papers on November 13th, so it's got to go out this Friday to be into the Villager is what we're going to utilize. Is
All right,
what
'cause
Renee had worked out with us.
Well, no, because we have to sign it, and
Right, oh, yes,
I'm unavailable tomorrow completely. There's
okay,
no way, so I'll have to sign it on Friday morning.
okay, well, we could get away with 2 signatures, correct?
Yeah, I'm just letting you know,
Okay,
I'm
how
gonna be out of state. I've gotta,
about you, Suzanne, are you gonna be around?
I can sign it tomorrow, and I would have to have somebody bring it to me on Friday, but I'll go in and sign it tomorrow.
Okay,
But like I said, I can't, the earliest I can get there is
Okay.
Friday morning.
okay,
All right,
Totally
Sounds good.
understandable.
so as long as we got 2 signatures, we're fine.
all right, moving on to agenda item 7, Langer Pond Dam Boundary Survey. So I gave you guys a proposal that I had received from J&D Civil Engineering to do a boundary survey. The purpose of this survey is so that we can eventually engage Leonard Engineering to continue to do the design work and, the specific, the design work for repairing the Langer Pond Dam. Tira has currently, as of Friday, put in a intent to pursue a grant that should help cover the cost of the engineering cost. And what Leonard, no matter what, requires to move forward with any type of design work is to actually know the boundaries. I spoke with Orla, and she said that I asked her if there was any type of funds that we could tap into in order to pay the $4,600 that J&D is proposing. And she said that there's currently about $18,000 left in contingency if we chose to tap into it. I really feel strongly that we need to move forward with this dam work because the North Grosvenordale Pond Dam is really become a bigger issue. Deep has actually sent out a notice to Centerville Bank, notifying them that they really must start taking action. And they've actually been very responsive. And my feeling is that if we're going to require another company, another dam owner to make repairs to a faulty dam, then we as a town should be preparing to do the same. It's our responsibility. We own the dam, and we should be doing what we need to do in order to make sure that it's safe. So like I said, Tira's putting in for the grant, and I'm just really hoping that it comes through in our favor.
So question, with this, it does not need to go out to bid because it's
No.
under 10,000, right? But it does need to go to Board of Finance for appropriations, is that right?
Correct. Yes.
To take it out of contingency, you're correct.
Right, so we as a board would just be agreeing to this? Is it even a vote?
It's a vote to
Move
send it
forward.
to the Board of Finance.
Okay, so I'll make that motion.
Okay.
That we request the Board of Finance to fund the engineering project in the amount of 4,600?
Yes.
I'll second it.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this topic?
Yeah, with the low water area right now, it's perfect timing for Leonard to do that. Plus, there'll be I have to assume that they're probably the engineer of record to work with the bank as well. So when that does move forward in that aspect, hopefully we can save some money because they'll almost have like a double project at the time.
At the same
Which is
time.
what happened when we had it inspected 2 years ago to meet the DEP requirements. They were at the Grosvenordale Pond, and they continued and did the one up so we could not be in violation of not turning in an inspection.
Right.
Amy, this is basically a survey and a land record research, right?
Right. One of the big things from talking to Leonard was that the faulty issues with the dam are potentially causing some erosion to the foundation of the stone mill building that's there, that's currently being renovated. So it'll be really important to know where the boundaries are and who's responsible for certain
Okay.
things. And we want to make sure that whoever's, for the developer that's restoring that mill, that they're going to be safe and that their building that they're renovating is going to be safe in
Right.
the future. So it's really something we just have to do.
And the grant funding that Tara is looking into, do we have any information on what grant that is and what kind of time frame that is?
If I'm remembering correctly, because there's so many grants that we're working on, it's FEMA grant and it's specifically for dam safety.
Excellent.
So,
But so this really needs to be approved soon. So she's put in a letter of intent, but what is there a deadline, or is on the grant funding as often you have to have, you know,
I think
complete?
she's already put in the intent, and I think she has until the end of the month, beginning of December, to get the final grant work in.
Okay.
So nothing, this isn't actually contingent, or the grant writing isn't contingent upon this boundary survey. It's
Okay.
just a step of moving forward to actually getting this work done.
Okay.
So, okay, so any further discussion on this motion? Okay, all in favor of moving forward and going to the Board of Finance to request $4,600 be appropriated for a boundary survey at the Langer Pond Dam site, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And that motion passes. All right. So we're on to agenda item 8. We had said we'd bring this up again tonight. I don't think that we necessarily have to make firm decisions on this. I just thought it would be, again, for additional discussion on the land donation to Wyndham Trust, the Wyndham Land Trust. I did speak to Ken Slater in regard to the donation. He said it does not have to go to bid first. The town is perfectly fine with making the decision. It does have to go to planning and zoning to get their approval on donating the land, and then it would have to go to town meeting.
So I met with Carolyn briefly this past week, or maybe it was last week, and discussed the property that we are talking about. And I also talked with her about the soccer fields that are up there. And I thought it was interesting to note that, I mean, the property is kind of abutting and it's all around the soccer fields. But the soccer field has some role to play in it because it was donated to the town. It was a federal piece of property apparently that was donated with the intent that it can only be used for recreation or a park of some kind. And just throwing that out there, food for thought, that we might want to start to look at that piece of property to be able to do something with it eventually. With this, the parcels of land that she's recommending, my thought is, and I have done, a little bit of looking at it, but it's still not as familiar to me as I'd like it to be before I make any decisions or recommendations. But I do think it might be valuable to have P&Z look at it and have them give us recommendations on what they think the parcels of land could possibly, if ever, be used for. And if not, if they would recommend or think that donating it would be a good idea. And then have it come back to us, because I know it has to go out to town hall, down to a town meeting before it's ever donated. It could be that we ask them to look at each parcel, or we give it to them in a small, chunks or something. But I just think that it could start having another set of eyes to look at it.
Right. That's a great thought. I wanted to share on the screen for everybody that's in the audience with us tonight, the parcels that are being discussed. When I spoke to Carolyn last week, this parcel here, number 1, which was the 21-acre parcel,
Yes.
she was kind of thinking, well, maybe we wouldn't donate that one. But these other back lots were what she was still felt pretty strong about potential for donating. Like she said, the Wyndham Land Trust, they become stewards of the land, whereas the land right now isn't monitored at all. They do monitor the land, but thought it would be good for everybody to see what we're talking about. Obviously, this is, if I'm correct, Ravenel Road, Messier Road is here. This is the Bull Hill soccer fields, and this is the land that's set behind that. So.
You also explained to me that some of the surrounding land around these parcels is actually like abandoned land, or I don't think that was the term she used, but it's land that has been left to a relative maybe, or someone that just basically has not had any interest in it.
Right. Are you talking about the area, because all the area in green is currently owned by Wyndham Land Trust as shown by her diagram, and then the brown is the town property. So is it a lot of these white parcels?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. What we discussed at the last meeting about these properties, there is no urgent time frame
Right.
on this by any means.
No.
It would be not, I did reach out to Steve Adams.
Okay, great.
He's the attorney that does all the closing for the Wyndham Land Trust. And Wyndham Land Trust is trying to zero in on the property that is to the west of the soccer field. That's the property from Little Rock, Arkansas. There's 100 and something acres up there. I did float, thoughts, conversation, which we had talked about the last meeting, maybe a possible land swap, to enhance the soccer field recreational area that we got. He was open to it. He said he would mention it to the directors, but just to give you a time frame, they're pretty much standing pat right now because property values have skyrocketed, even for raw land right now, because of the economy being in the position that it's in. So they've got their, the thumb in the dike and trying to work something out, but it is not urgent because timing is everything with the cost. But he would float it by the board of directors, and that would be something if we did say we did work out an agreement that was acceptable to everybody, then that would have to be presented to the P&Z, that it would be a swap or ultimately a donation, whatever it may be. Until we get that information, we probably should just continue to probably set up a meeting with them, have some more conversation, and see where it leads. And when the time is appropriate, then we can float it to P&Z and then go to town meeting as required.
When I spoke to Ken Slater about it, he didn't see the viability of just a land swap. Once the land trust actually acquires land, it's generally meant for conservation. And Carolyn's thought was that, well, if we were going to do some type of swap, we at least have to have some type of plan in place as to what we're going to actually use the land for.
Well, even if we do a land swap, that has to be a conversation with Wyndham Land Trust, because when they
prior to them acquiring something, because once
correct,
they acquire it, it's conserved.
Right.
Usually that's part of the deal when they purchase property, that the understanding is it's going into conservation. If we work out something that benefits us both, then when they approach the whoever they're buying land from, that would be a topic of discussion. Okay, we're going to acquire the 100-something acres. We're going to give X, Y, and Z to the town. The town's going to give us X, Y, and Z. And just to let you know, this is what we intend to do. Technically, it's being recreation and conservation, but it's a discussion that we need to have.
No, absolutely. So I wanted to keep it on the schedule on the agenda, because we did say that we would. Certainly no action is necessary at this point.
I think it's something that we probably could remove from the agenda going forward until there is something to talk about.
Yep. Suzanne, did you want to refer it to P&Z for them to get their input at least on it?
I don't think it would hurt to have them look at it to see what their thoughts are on, and they don't have to get back to us right away either. Just to see if they felt there was any of the land that could be of use to us in some way, shape, or form. I'm not clear on Wyndham Trust swapping land, because once they accepted, I thought it was probably, some sort of a arrangement that they would have, that they would keep it in the trust and conserve it and not, trade it or anything like that. It's like a,
Our town
I
attorney,
think there would be a clause that they couldn't just trade it off for other land.
right, it sounds great, but our town attorney didn't think it was a viable option. But
Well, it's something,
not that it's dead in the water, it could happen.
Yeah, and
it's something to explore to see what the options are.
I didn't get a chance to reach out to Steve. Did he say that could be an option?
He didn't say it was not doable. He said that he understood, he kind of, it made sense to him. Obviously, we'd have to, when the time comes, figure out, again, we'd have to have a discussion with the board of their directors, figure out what the land is that's abutting us, what we can use, not use, what the intent is. There's got to be more, investigation into it.
Okay, so what is the fancy then? What we'd like to do? Do you want to sit on it for another meeting?
Yeah, why don't we just sit on it? I'll talk to Carolyn again. I think your idea, I do like your idea of sending it to P and Z and getting their thoughts on it. And we have time at the next meeting if we wanted to get it onto their November agenda. So let's just sit on it, maybe do a little bit more research and then talk about it again, because we're certainly in no rush.
Do you remember if Carolyn said this did not come from Wyndham Trust? They were not requesting this. This came from
No, they don't even know anything about it.
Conservation Committee?
It's just from the commission, the Conservation Commission. Yeah,
Commission. So it was their request. They have already discussed it then.
they've discussed it at length. I was in their meetings when they discussed it. So-
Oh, all right. Okay. So that's of interest to me. And they have a different set of eyes than I think we might.
And maybe we could attend one of their meetings.
And that would be a good idea. If they had it on their agenda, we could attend anyway.
We could just ask some questions anyways.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. So no action at this time. Okay. So agenda item 9, proposal for environmental services. This is something that I really just wanted to share with the board to keep you guys in the loop. We are contracting with Wayne Bugden. It says discussion and action, but it's really just discussion to keep you in the loop. We are planning on contracting with Wayne Bugden to start doing some environmental work at the town garage, just to get some answers to how we can move forward with a new salt shed at some point. I sent you over the contract and the explanation of the background that he's already gathered, the data he's already gathered, the work he's already done for us, and then of course his proposal for the work going forward, and what he hopes to bring to us at the end of it all. We did have a discussion with Connecticut Water and with our town attorney present as well, and that went very, very well. We're just dedicated going forward to work together just to come up with the best solution for the future and moving forward with a salt shed. So I did want to share, the Board of Finance had put in the budget $20,000 towards design and implementation of a new salt shed. So this is kind of moving that process forward. So I don't know if you guys have any questions about it.
I did read the information, and my only comment would be that in the future, when we get to a point that we are ready to, if that we think we're ready to build it, maybe we need to film, or we have a couple of projects that we've been talking about tonight, I think, and maybe a new building committee with a charge of working on these would be a good idea when we're at that point.
Yep.
Just a thought, just throwing that out there, because I know the current school building committee has done a great job with their projects, and so just a new committee.
Right. It's nice to have people with the background, the construction background, and
Yeah, that's, they have like 3 items on their charge, and that's what they work on. And I think that works out very well for this town.
what do you think of that, Ken?
The selection of Wayne Bugden and his environmental services is a great choice. The work that he has done with the 630 and 929 has been exceptional. He has saved the town money, and we've gotten more out of the bar grant and the Brownsfield grants that we've had. So he will squeeze a dime out of pennies to get things done. So he does an exceptional job, doesn't waste a lot of time, and he's usually dead on. He's very highly respected, being on the governor's task force just for Brownsfields and that. So it's a great selection for us using Wayne, without a doubt.
Good.
From the first time I met with him, with Rich at the garage, he was just fabulous to work with, and just speaks. He's very easy to understand. That's all I'm going to say. He had some engineers and it's like, whoo, right over your head. But he was really down to earth. And yes, you're right. He is going to work to save the town money and
Good.
make the best recommendations.
Yeah, he speaks so you understand what he speaks normal English, and he doesn't speak in
Pretty much.
algebra and everything else. When you have a conversation with him, you know exactly where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent.
All right, so that's that. So last item that I have on the agenda was the other business. I'm just going to share the letter that I received from John Dalton. Here we go. It's coming up. Just give me a second here. All right, so here it is. Hello, Amy. This is John Dalton, Thompson Housing Authority. I sold my home on October 15th, 2020, and I am no longer a resident of Thompson. It is my understanding that I must resign from my position with the Housing Authority. I have enjoyed serving the residents and working under your leadership. Keep up the great work, Amy. Blah, blah, blah. I will miss the board and residents. Maybe I will return someday. Sincerely, John Dalton. So I would make a motion that we accept his resignation with regret, because he was a great asset to the Housing Authority.
I will second that, and I will say that I'm sad to hear that John has left, because I served on that commission with him and he was awesome.
Yeah.
And that leaves 2 vacant spots on the Housing Authority that we should probably think about replacing.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely thanks for his services.
Yeah.
To the town.
Yep.
So all in favor of accepting the resignation with regret, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. And that motion passes. And that brings us to citizen comments once again. Agenda item 11, citizen comments. Are there any citizen comments at all? John Rice.
Amy, that map of Bull Hill, all those parcels, understanding you're gonna send it to P and Z. Would your intention to be for us to review all of those parcels, or are you just concentrating around the soccer fields?
Well, it was Suzanne's thought about sending it to P and Z. I like the idea because ultimately it would have to go to P and Z anyways for your advice. But what were your thoughts on that, Suzanne?
I was thinking reviewing all of them, but there is no time frame on it. You
Right.
could, as long as you could look at one parcel at a time, one a month, or as long as you wanted for the most part, or as you felt it was appropriate to donate.
Why don't we send them the information that Carolyn sent us as a board?
Yep.
With the with the property cards, and just do it as correspondence, FYI. We're discussing this, and that way they can review it in their leisure.
Yeah. That sounds
All right,
good.
it sounds like a plan. I was just concerned because it seemed like there was a lot of parcels, and I for one, wouldn't want to have that at one night's meeting and say,
No.
yeah, go ahead without a lot of research.
Right. Yes,
And-
that's right.
And that's kind of where we're at too. We don't want to make that decision without having other information or input and doing it at one meeting. That's why we're kind of taking our time with it too, I think.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, we
Uh,
need to miss an opportunity for that land to be used somewhere in the future that could prosper the town. So I don't know. That's my thought.
I do have one question that I forgot to mention under the legal notice, since we have John, in this conversation about it. On the hearing, on the town meeting notice, it was the acceptance of the 2 parcels on Quakertown Farm Road. Did that go to P&Z for acceptance?
Yes. Yeah. at
Okay,
their
just
last
making
meeting.
sure.
And they
Good
move forward with it. So
All right, no, as long as that's been done, then everything is great.
and Karen Durlack. Oh, and John Rice. I think Dottie probably knows it, but what's your address?
I'm sorry, 39 East Thompson Road.
Okay, thank you. And Karen Durlack has her hand up.
Karen Derlock, 94 Tuft Hill Road, North Grovenordale. And on the Trails Committee, I just want to remind everybody and invite everybody that November 10th is the public workshop about the train wreck park. So there'll be a Zoom link on the website.
And it's going to be a Zoom meeting, Karen?
Yeah,
What time is that at?
a public meeting, Zoom, 7 o'clock, November 10th. I'm pretty sure it's 7 o'clock.
Tuesday, November 10th. Okay.
So everybody's invited.
And what are you seeking in the meeting, Karen? Just so that we're clear, you're seeking input?
Well, we're working with we're working with the National Park Service. So they're going to do there'll be a presentation about where we are so far. And then we'll be seeking public comment on the kinds of signage and infrastructure that people would be interested in and how they learn more about the history of the train wreck.
Sounds good.
And where is your agenda posted with the Zoom link?
Right now, there's on the Trails page of the website, there's a notice, and I will give Renee the Park Service couldn't generate the link until November, so I've got a new notice that will be going up this week
Okay,
with the link.
just so everybody knows how to find it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
There should be posters around Town Hall. There also should be posters in Town Hall hanging up.
I think you're
Okay.
right. Okay. Any other citizen comments at this time? Citizen comments? All right, hearing and seeing none, I will move on to agenda item 7, tax refunds. I'm sorry, agenda item 12, tax refunds. I'll make a motion that we refund the following taxpayers: Toyota Lease Trust, $210.12. Toyota Lease Trust, $306.51. Toyota Lease Trust, $244.96. Toyota Lease Trust, $168.22. And Toyota Lease Trust, $276.58. Ross L. and Stacy L. Dimick, $26.56. CCAP Auto Lease Ltd, $340.50. Margaret L. Sellers and Patricia M. Devine, $28.79. Kent B. Luman, $11.82. Sylvain Boucher, $22.05. David W. Meshk, $68.15. And Gary L. Boudreau, $32.68, for a total of $1,737.14.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of these tax refunds, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes. Okay, I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 7:54 p.m.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks. Good night.
Thank you.